What's up, guys? It's me, Alan. I'm back with another video, and I am back with my 2022 NASCAR Xfinity Series Auto Club race review. So if you can't tell, I am dealing with some nasal congestion, so there's that. And I don't know exactly when this video is going to go up because I've been having issues with the Wi-Fi over here pretty much since I got home from work. So um, once that's figured out, I will have this video go up as soon as possible. Um, and pretty much just go from there. That being said, um, AJ Allmendinger qualified on the pole for this race, and here we go into a little bit of controversy, especially considering what we saw out of the finish of the race. This has been riling some people up. So Joe Graf Jr. He failed to qualify. He was one of three guys that failed to qualify. Later, it was announced that he'd be going into the 38 car for which is one of Ryan Sieg's cars. And the car had been qualified by Timmy Hill, qualifying in the top 20, of course, because of the driver change. Graf will go to the back. Now, Brock Beard explained this on his Twitter, and I think people really overlooked that. The basic gist of it was Graf, the '08 car, because Custer's in the '07, which is Graf is usually in, a little complicated. The '08 car was not set up for Graf. It was set up for David Starr, who had signed on in the offseason to run part-time for them this year. So Graf was in the car. It wasn't set up for him, and he had issues during both practice and qualifying, and shit basically happens, but that's what happened. And so, and Custer being the '07, this has to do with the fact that SS Greenlight has an alliance now with Stewart-Haas Racing. So, you'll be seeing Xfinity, Stewart-Haas guys running for them at times, which would put one that driver, in this case Cole Custer, this week in the '07, Graf to the '08, which has happened before. Like last year, we saw Graf in the '08 a bunch of times and driving his own number '07 a bunch of times. But that's the thing to remember is the Stewart-Haas alliance, and so there's that. But again, what annoyed people was that Timmy Hill qualified the 38 in the top 20, and then he gets taken out of it for Graf, and people got pissed at that because they feel like Graf's a pay driver and shit like that. Again, it's alliances, and also the sponsor came with the car, not Hill, and this was another thing that Brock explained. And also, Hill isn't full-time, Graf is, so there's that. And look, if he and the team were willing, then that's up to them. That's their choice, and that's what they did. So I get that you might not like it, but that's just how this shit works. And hopefully next week at Vegas, the car will be set up. The second car, or whichever car Graf will be in, will be set up to him, for him, for the race. But that said, that happened, and Jeffrey Earnhardt took his car to the garage during practice. Did not post a qualifying lap, which is the rule. Pockers had said that if you take your car to the garage during practice, you don't get to post a qualifying lap, which is kind of dumb, but I guess it is what it is. He would end up starting to the back with Jeb Burton for adjustments, Kyle Sieg, engine change, Jesse Woogie, adjustments, Joey Gase, adjustments, Timmy Hill, driver change to Graf Jr., Tommy Joe Martin's adjustments, and Josh Williams, also adjustments. So the race gets going. Austin Hill gets in the wall early, damage to the right side of his car after getting a push from Josh Berry on the front stretch. Possibly hit a bump in the racetrack, and he went right. Sheldon Creed also touched the wall. And then a little bit later, we got caution for... Well, that wasn't a caution. A little bit later, we would get a caution for Landon... for possible fluid on the racetrack. And then it became for Landon Castle with his car just letting go and going up in smoke. So that's a big deal because NASCAR said that for the Xfinity guys, they have to run the same car that they ran tonight or today at Fontana. They have to run that again at Vegas. So a lot of these guys are going to have, as you'll see, will end up having to go to backup cars, which means we have several very good drivers starting from the back next week, regardless of qualifying and whatnot. Um, Jeremy Clements would pit under caution with a right rear tire flat. Jesse Woogie would go to the garage. Tommy John Martins would be reporting a possible electrical issue. We get another caution a little bit later for Mason Massey, who was slow on the racetrack. Martin says his car feels like it's down a cylinder. And then at one point, Herbst gets a little nudge from Clements. Riley Herbst, that is. And then a little bit later, NASCAR, it was reported that NASCAR was looking at the right side of Brandon Jones's car for potentially having contact with the wall. Also looking at Tommy Joe Martin's car due to his issues. And coming to the start-finish line at the end of Stage 1, Noah Gragson makes a bit of contact with the wall on the last lap. Trevor Bayne, who in this race made his return to the Xfinity Series for the first time in a long time, in terms of that series, and the first time racing in NASCAR, well, aside from the trucks, I think last year or the year prior, because he hadn't raced in the Cup Series, I think, since 2018, I believe? 2018, 2019, something like that. He ends up winning Stage 1. Cole Custer second, Justin Allgaier third, Noah Gragson fourth, Ty Gibbs fifth, AJ Allmendinger sixth, Josh Berry seventh, Ryan Sieg eighth, Daniel Hemrick ninth, and Sam Mayer in 10th. Sieg misses his pit box. Bayne's team does not have a great pit stop, and that was a theme throughout the day. And it was reported that part of the reason for that is because normally a lot of the Xfinity teams will have the Cup teams, pit crews, pit the cars. But in this case, because the Cup cars are now one lug nut and the Xfinity cars are still 5, for Bayne's team, they didn't do that, and this is their second week together, and so on and so forth. Austin Hill, too many men over the wall penalty. Daniel Hemrick would be credited with the lead off pit road after Sieg missed his pit box. Jesse Woogie would return to the race. And then we get a caution on the first lap of Stage 2 for Ty Gibbs. Side drafts with Daniel Hemrick coming off of turn 4. They make a bit of contact, and Gibbs spins into the grass. He avoids any major damage, which is good. But it sucks to see that, and he never really recovered, for the most part. Like, a lot of the race he would spend towards, around the top 15-ish, but not really back in the top 10. Jeffrey Earnhardt reporting high water temps. Bailey Curry had pitted just before the caution for a flat tire. And then we get a caution for Brandon Jones. He spins, but saves it. Jeffrey Earnhardt would pit. And then Cole Custer would take the Stage 2 victory. Brandon Jones second, Justin Allgaier third, Noah Gragson fourth, Ty Gibbs fifth, Daniel Hemrick sixth, AJ Allmendinger seventh, Sam Mayer eighth, Josh Berry ninth, and Riley Herbst 10th. The Gibbs thing I mentioned before, that was later in the race. Yes, he finished top 10 of the stage, but you get my point. Also, Jones with the fresher tires was able to get up to second, going to the end of the stage as well. So we get the restart going into Stage 3. Looked a little chaotic. NASCAR reviewed it, deemed it was good. AJ Allmendinger would pit for what he believed to be a right front loose wheel or vibration. Turns out it was from the left rear of the car. Mason Massey with another issue. NASCAR would take a look over at Kaz Grala's car, or keep an eye on him. His car, that is. Creed gets in the wall. Grala would slow down. Grala would end up coming to pit road with a flat tire, and then right afterward, caution would come out for Brandon Brown. He spins on the backstretch but doesn't hit anything. Right front tire blows apart, though, and it hurts the right front corner of the car pretty significantly. Jeffrey Earnhardt would get an uncontrolled tire penalty. We get going again. Matt Mills would have an issue. Tommy Joe Martins had to make another pit stop. NASCAR would be looking at Sheldon Creed's car this time around, because of the amount of people getting close to and possibly getting in the wall, or actually getting in the wall for that matter. And we get a caution this time for Jade Buford. Gets loose off turn 2, tries to save it, but ends up sliding and hitting the inside wall. Creed got close, but doesn't look like he touched Buford as he was spinning. So we get pit stops. And Noah Gragson overshoots his pit box. He was leading at this point in time, and this pretty much costed him the race. He would go on to finish second, but had he not overshot his pit box, he would have gotten a far better restart, even with all the shenanigans that happened, and there's that. So Ty Gibbs and Anthony Alfredo would stay out, and this was huge for Alfredo because by doing so, he actually saved a set of tires and would pit under the next caution, which I'll get to in a moment. Gibbs didn't have that luxury because of his earlier spin. So we get going again. Myatt Snider slows in turn 2, goes down to the apron. His car blows up. But he does make it to pit road. Justin Allgaier gets into the wall a little bit, possibly thanks to his teammate Josh Berry. And then we get a debris caution with about 10 laps to go coming from Mason Massey. Then we get another caution with about 5 laps to go, this time for Brett Moffitt. Josh Berry got into the wall coming to the start-finish line before the caution. Moffitt slows up in the corner. Creed gets into him from behind and then gets into the wall himself. Jeffrey Earnhardt was running top 10, top 12 at this point. He ended up having to go to the pits with battery issues and fell a lot of laps down. And then we get the first green-white checker attempt, and Brandon Jones spins. This would be the 10th caution of the race, and actually a new track record for the Xfinity Series at, Auto Club. This, with a little bit of help from Daniel Hemrick, but somehow Brandon Jones didn't hit anybody because he basically spun in the middle of the turn. Ryan Vargas would stall under caution. His transmission gave out, and we'll get more into that in a moment. And then we get another caution on the second green-white checker attempt, and it's for Brandon Jones again. This time, though, it started in front of him with Stephen Parsons and Sheldon Creed. They got into the wall together, and then Brandon Jones spun down the racetrack and slammed right rear of the car first into the barrels of sand at the entrance of pit road. So NASCAR had to throw the red flag out to fix that. And Myatt Snider also had a tire coming apart in turn 1, apparently. So obviously Creed and Jones were done. Castle and Buford were done earlier in the race. For some reason, the broadcast doesn't show like the laps down and stuff like that a lot anymore, which is weird. But anyway, regarding Vargas, Brock Beard said that the boot of Vargas's shifter came loose and debris hit Vargas's thumb. No update as to if that's going to lead to any sort of injury. We get going again. Then Cole Custer takes the white flag, and he would win at Auto Club. Anthony Alfredo's efforts unfortunately come up short, though he does take 5th. This, of course, being SS Greenlight's first win in their team's history. Hometown win for Cole Custer. A huge win for the team with their alliance with SHR. Trevor Bay nabbed 3rd in his Xfinity Series return. And Joe Graf Jr. ended up taking the, Ryan Sieg racing car that was qualified by Timmy Hill, and he finished 15th in it. Getting as high as, I think, close to the top 10. So, yeah. Absolutely deserved to be in this race. Yes, people are going to bitch that Timmy Hill should have still been in the car. Yes, they're going to bitch about Graf. I get it. But he did what he did. It's business, man. And Graf's running full time, so he needs the points. And he did it. So, he grabs top 15. Wow. Cole Custer, again, the SHR Alliance helps out tremendously, but Custer still gets the victory, which is huge for them. And, so with all of that being said, like I said in the intro, I'm going to try to get this video up at some point tonight. I got to figure out this fucking Wi-Fi issue, and I also have college stuff I got to get done too, so all in less than 2 hours. So yeah. But with all that being said, please make sure to drop a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, let me know your thoughts down below, and make sure to use code ANJJ for free shipping on orders of $20 or more at Circle B Diecast. I will catch y'all next time. Peace.